Now, last week we had a reprieve in the oil market as oil had tumbled $10 a barrel in both WTI and Brent. And in just one day, we've gained half of that back on Middle East tensions. And that just shows the volatility and possibility that can happen in the oil market. Just like that, oil can be up $4 or $5 a barrel. And I'm sticking with my prediction of $150 a barrel oil next year. And that would probably equate to $6 to $8 a gallon gasoline at the pumps. And that higher mark would be out on the West Coast. And they're already experiencing close to $6 a gallon gasoline. Now, a record 447,000 U.S. workers are now working 2 full-time jobs, and that's just to get by, folks. And you're going to see that number grow. You're going to see more people work 2 full-time jobs, work 3 part-time jobs, as many jobs as they can to try to keep up with this inflation. And hiking interest rates have done nothing. Maybe it slowed down inflation, but it's still rising. And I've got bad news, because if oil moves to $150 a barrel, like I'm thinking next year, and if we think inflation has been bad in the past few years, we haven't seen anything yet. Now, the U.S. posted the largest deficit on record, and the country is now spending $1.7 trillion more than it's taken in. And that equates to the U.S. spending 44% of GDP. And those are the same levels the U.S. achieved in World War II. And our population isn't much better. We've got a ton of people living beyond their means, running up their credit cards, running up their debt, and they're not bringing in enough monthly to cover it. So we're in bad shape all around, folks. Now, adjustable rate mortgage demand has surged in the last few months, with mortgage rates continuing to rise. And that's going to spell trouble for a lot of people in the future. Because the idea of adjustable rate mortgages are on the premise that interest rates and mortgage rates will come down in the near future. But I got bad news for folks. We're going to stay at these elevated interest rates and these elevated mortgage rates for several years. So many of these people who are taking on these ARMs, these adjustable rate mortgages, they're going to wind up in foreclosure in a few years. This has 2007, 2008, these ARMs, these adjustable housing crisis written all over it. Now, Social Security recipients are going to receive a 3.2% COLA increase next year. And that's not going to do much. It's going to help, but it's not going to do anything in order to keep up with this inflation. As medical costs are rising, medication costs are rising, food is rising, shelter is rising, everything is rising. And 3.2%, yeah, it's going to help, but it's not going to be able to keep up with this inflation. Now, there's a lot of chatter about the Fed staying patient in the next 2 months on hiking interest rates. And as long as we see commodity prices rising, the Fed is behind the curve. The Fed is behind the ball. And by the time they start hiking interest rates again, it's going to be too late. And it seems like they're continuing the same song and dance that occurred 2 years ago. And we might very well see hyperinflation, folks. That's my prediction for next year and beyond. And right now, the Fed has the opportunity to put a stop, to put a hold on this inflation. To ease up on the gas pedal and not hike rates in the next 2 months is going to be a big mistake, because oil and gasoline, your highest drivers of inflation, can run up quicker than the Fed can cut rates. Now, orange juice continues to hit record highs, and it won't be too long before the price of orange juice is out of reach for most consumers. It's going to get to a point where buying a jug of orange juice is going to be like buying a bottle of champagne. And sugar and cocoa continue marching higher also. So again, you step your foot in that grocery store, you're going to feel pain. And all of this is happening while oil and gasoline are somewhat subdued. Now, if you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.